Welcome back to Purple Sector, Austrian Grand Prix. Simply lovely. Suck it, Lando fan.
That was a little bit of a rough one.
Um, the top three, though, less than 2 seconds apart. George, I think if we had another 4 or 5 laps, was going to see some action. At that point, it might have been Kimi, but Max and Kimi were coming.
Yeah, I wish we got a few more laps in there. We'll get into George, but in an interview post race, he was saying that he was basically preserving his tires. So who knows if he had that extra pace in him? But I guess we'll never know.
We will never know. But we got George, Max, Kimi. Let me just go through the top 10 so I mess them up. Piastri, who it's kind of been a theme this year. He isn't talked about much. Hasn't had the best races, but he's had two pretty high finishes, and it's just not. It's almost like he's a sleeper. He's not having the best season, but he's kind of like a sleeper when he has a good race. Like, not really a focal point at all. Just is kind of there.
Yeah, I think this was it just kind of fell in his lap a little bit. We'll get to Ferrari and how their race looked, but they weren't there, and Oscar benefited from that. So, um, yeah, I mean, okay race, better than Lando's race. I think Lando struggled with the tires a little bit. Hopefully, we'll see him rebound.
I hope so. I mean, I'm not rooting against your boy. I just like when my boy does better than your boy. Hamilton 5th, Hadjar 6th, Norris 7th, Leclerc 8th. Well, I'm sure we'll get to him a little bit. And then Lawson Lindblad 9, 10. Best of the rest, lap down, but good performance. Can't complain by them.
Yeah, I think what you see there is just the top four teams just have a significant pace advantage over everyone else. So, yeah, when those are the only four cars that can stand the lead lap.
That's what's expected. If one of them is below P8 right now, they've had a bad day.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. How do you feel about the race in general?
Well, I was pretty tired when I watched it. I committed to waking up early, which for me is 6 a.m. On the West Coast.
Early, but...
That's early for me. I am a late riser. I had a late night the night before previously, so I don't know. I felt like the latter half was a little bit of a snoozer, but that may have just been me. You said you were a bit more excited.
I think I was a bit more excited, but it wasn't the most exciting race. I mean, we had a little bit of Max Hamilton fighting, which was only like 4 corners, but it's good to see. There was a cool drone shot out of was that 5 into like 5, 6, 7 of them going side by side, and I mean you got a whole ton of championships going around those corners like side by side with the drone following. It's pretty cool. I always like that, and I hope they continue to do the drone shot. I think some of the angles could be a little better, and I'm going to sound super Red Bull fanboy here, but there's a really cool video for anyone that hasn't seen it of a drone following Max doing like a test lap in the wet in one of the Red Bull F1 cars,
and it's Silverstone.
It's like one of the dopest like follow videos you could watch. So it'd be cool to see more of that type of stuff, like directly overhead. Not some weird angle, just seeing the cars like get close together. It's fun. It's cool. So I did enjoy that a lot.
I'm a fan when we get a new perspective, because I think sometimes the broadcast angle of the cars doesn't really show what's going on. Like you don't have quite the perspective of like how close cars are, or what the driver's experiencing. So I like it when they throw in more onboards and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, lacking speed. There's another angle. I feel like I'm getting my corners mixed up. It's that like double left-hander. I think that was like 6, 7. Or yeah, 6 and 7. They had the ground camera right at the gravel. That was a cool angle
Mm-hmm.
too. See, that just shows the speed really well. Um, there wasn't anything too crazy in the race.
No, we got
Um,
some good battles. We
yeah,
had, the normal chaos at the beginning. I think the Max Lewis battle was exciting. There was a little bit of drama when it came to, pit stop strategy and tires, and we'll get to Kimi in the virtual safety car. Um, and then at the end, but like we talked about, I think we were a few laps short of seeing a battle at the front.
yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get to the tire offset a little bit, but with the drivers' championship looking slightly different now. Big win for George. Obviously, he's 40 points back. We got Kimi at 171, Russell 131, Hamilton at 125, and then the following, Piastri 80, Norris and Leclerc at 79, and Max at 73. So you would say it's still Mercedes to lose, really. Hamilton looked really good, or still has, but Ferrari does look like they're lacking a little bit, which we'll dive into that. But based off of last year, of course, I have like big time hopes because Red Bull's car looks decent right now. But based on last year, I think the championship's wide open still. Constructors obviously looks a little different than the drivers, but like we talked about, you were right. There was a Mercedes failure again, nailed it. We don't know what's going to happen with the reg set, and I don't think the championship, like no one's running away with it yet. Not quite. There's too many races left.
Yeah, I think people were real quick to give this to Antonelli. We still have 12, 13, 14 races,
15.
something like that. 15?
It's a long season.
I think it's 14. I think this
14?
was yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think there's still a lot of things that can happen here between now and the end of the season. I do think that, what is that, almost 90 points that Piastri would need to make up. Yes, possible. We saw Max do it at the tail end of last year where he was 100-something points behind and almost came back.
Which right now he's 98
that's a tall order. That's a tall order. Not impossible, but to me, I think it's any one of those top three guys. I still have to believe that it's going to be a Mercedes that winds up on top there, just given their performance. And Ferrari, which was just in a weird place all weekend. And I know we're going to talk more about them, but they looked like they were sandbagging, and then qualifying they looked quick, and then in the race they just struggled.
Yeah, I don't know.
My money's on Kimi, but it's not a given.
To be honest. I'd agree. I think we're looking at Mercedes still, but seeing the last couple of years and the fighting, even with the big differences in performance, obviously that doesn't go for all drivers on the grid. Some drivers are really good, but they do need the car too. Max could pull a tractor. I think Lando's performance has been well. Like if he has a good stretch of races with no major issues, he could be right in the fight. Like I said, Piastri's been a little sneaky, but I don't think he's really getting this reg set right. I think Lando would have significantly more points than him if he hasn't had as many issues. I mean, honestly, Lando might be more in the fight if he hadn't had issues. He might be up over 100 points. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, Kimi and George have had DNFs too. So, I mean, a rabbit hole. That's a rabbit
hole. Yeah. I think Norris got a little unlucky. He lost some places at the beginning of the race and then just never really made them up. So he got caught in no man's land a little bit. And we'll talk about Hadjar in a minute, but they finished ahead of him. So he talked about it in an interview afterwards because he wasn't far off Max in qualifying. But after a poor start and then just a difference in race pace, he fell off a little bit there. So unfortunate for my boy.
The start didn't go his way very well. Piastri and was it Lawson that jumped up there right away? I think Lawson had a really good start to the race. Obviously, he fell off pretty quick based on the performance, but I think one of the RBs kind of cut him off along with
Yeah,
Piastri.
I don't remember which one it was, but they snuck up there in the first couple turns. Well, what do you think about the win here? Is it possible for Max or Kimi to win this?
I think, first of all, Kimi really hurt his race in the first 2 laps. He was a mess. Way too hyped. It kind of reminded me of last year where he just like binned Max turn 3, like just send it. Luckily he had the runoff areas. And honestly,
he said in an interview, he's like, I was too excited.
Yeah, I've had soccer
like,
games
I've been
that
there,
where
dude.
my coach is like, bro, chill. And sim racing, I definitely do that too much.
You get too hyped up.
Yeah, super excited. Oh, I'm killing it. I'm just going to keep sending it. Boom. Lock up, wall, or rear end. I honestly thought lap 2 he had damage because he went over the sausage curb in turn 3, and then he got passed by Leclerc and Max.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Leclerc and Max. And when they went down the straight after 3, since he had such little speed, I'm like, oh, Kimi broke his car. He broke his car. And then he picked it right back up. So I'm like, okay, lucky guy. But I think he definitely hurt his race. And then as far as winning, he obviously had the pace at the end. So I think that's where the beginning hurt him. And then they had, they pit him right before the VSC, which...
Yeah, I think when you watched it live, it was like, oh no, what are they thinking? He went too early, but it sounds like he was already committed to the pit lane, which is just crap luck,
crap timing,
which you can't do anything about. But I think if that had played out differently and he was able to pit under the VSC, or if they had pit Max earlier to seal off the undercut that George gave him, I think one of those guys could have finished in the lead.
I honestly think if those both played out, I don't want to say correctly because Kimi's was more of a timing thing. I think Red Bull screwed the pooch, 100%.
Yep.
I mean, he was under 2 seconds behind George, and it was only like a 3-lap difference in tires, and then they waited for a 6-lap difference on the second stint. Huge mistake. I think once George pit, they could have ran Max another 2 laps or so, but coming out of the pit 10 seconds behind, they just way too tall of an order. He chipped away at it pretty quick, but then George was pretty steady the whole time, and there's just not enough time. I think they should have done like maybe a 2-lap again and just let Max be Max, let him race. Obviously, go ahead.
It's interesting to me because I think Max is someone who wants to push all out as often as he can. He's obviously capable of managing pace and managing tires, but the best version of Max is when he can be aggressive. And you don't get that when you go long, right? Your pace diminishes because you're worried about making the tires last in the hopes that you then have a tire advantage to end the race. Well, they ran out of time to do that. I think if the race had been extended, like I said, Max may have caught George. But I think if you put him on a strategy, it's almost like opposite, right? Like Hamilton had the extra stop and it didn't pan out for them because their tire dig was terrible. But if it's like Barcelona last year, right? Where Max was on that 3-stop, just all out, send it. That's the best version of Max. So you don't give him that opportunity. And I think the strategy bit him.
Yeah, I truly think they just waited too long. I know we said we're going to get into George, but I mean, I think George is full of crap. I think that's what he had. I think he was panicking. I mean, he saw the Red Bull on his ass on that first stint. Like, he knew he was coming. I mean, I had a couple moments where I'm standing off the couch like, come on, Max, like in the double pass going into turn 4 or coming out of turn 4. He was moving. So, and just like Kimi, I don't think George had much more in the tank, to be honest. He wasn't making mistakes, though. That's where he saved himself. He wasn't making any big mistakes.
Yeah, I agreed. I got a good chuckle at one point in the race. I think it was towards the end of the first stint where I'm sure he was just BSing, like trying to pull a dummy on people, but he was like, "Oh yeah, we can make a one-stop work." I was like, "That is
I'm like, I
classic
need to
George."
text Kyle right now, but I didn't know if you were up or not. But I was like, that's the thing we always make
No,
fun of him for. It's paid off in the past, but it definitely
not here.
was not
No,
happening. He would have
no.
been in like 10th if he tried to do that. It would not have been good.
Oh
Um,
well, speaking of tire troubles, let's jump to Ferrari. These guys, like I said, their pace, I don't know what happened to them. Obviously, they were managing tire deg the whole time, but it felt like it was kind of this compounding issue where they had bad tires and they were slow, and so they had to push in order to keep up, and that made their tires worse. And so you wind up, going off strategy. They brought Lewis in early under the VSC, I think, which cut his stint on the hards short. And that was really the tire you wanted to be on. So put
that
him in a weird
surprised
place.
me a lot, actually, that they did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if I'm Lewis there, I'm saying no, it's not worth it. But who knows, right? They did what they did. We're not going to find out. But
Let's
yeah,
go to the other
just
Ferrari
not.
really. Oh, sorry. Keep going. I thought you
I
were.
was just going to say not great. I do want to talk about Leclerc. So we predicted that he wasn't in the slump. He was going to break out of his slump. And I think our qualifying reaction was maybe premature, right? Because he put in a banger lap, but he definitely looked to be behind Lewis on pace today.
He just doesn't look sharp right now. And maybe it's just the reg set, and we've talked about it previously. There's a lot going on, like you're having to learn different types of deployment while still managing the car, and then you don't have full control over the deployment either. Like they know when things are going to happen, but it's not as natural, I guess. He hasn't looked that great, and I feel like it's race after race. He'll start pretty strong, fight a little bit, like he's fighting with Hamilton a little bit, and then once you pass him, he's gone. He's not coming back. Like he just kind of hung out. He
Yeah, I
ended
don't
up in
know.
eighth, right? Eighth.
Yeah, not awesome. I wonder if it's a confidence issue. I wonder if it really is just it doesn't click with this rig set. We talked in our post quali video about distraction and the amount of focus that it takes and how complicated these cars are. Your brain doesn't turn off. You're constantly pushing buttons or responding to a radio message or battling or trying to be really intentional about your throttle and brake inputs to preserve your tires. So who knows? I mean, it's got to be difficult to do. By no means is Leclerc a bad driver, but just something's not clicking.
Yeah, something's not working. He shouldn't be worried about his spot. He just got extended, so it might just be kind of a Toto on the radio to George. Just race, George. Just race.
Drive the car.
Just drive the car. So, I mean, I'm a big love Charles, so hopefully he kind of gets in the fight a little bit. Him and Lewis fighting earlier in the season was great, so it'd be awesome to see, even if it's just the Ferraris duking it out. It's like to see that again, kind of like we've seen the Mercs. You mentioned pre-podcast Lewis interview, and we're kind of talking about Ferrari's turbos. Do you want to jump into that a little bit?
Yeah, well, Lewis was interviewed post race where he was again talking about their pace compared to Mercedes, and we all knew like Ferrari's advantage is in the corners, right? That's where they make up time, but they're down on power in the straights, and so Lewis pointed to deployment, right, as their advantage. I don't know how true that really can be because he said that Mercedes deployment lasts longer. Maybe that just means they're not deploying as much, and so their charge lasts longer. I don't really know that. But the other thing that I saw someone point out was Ferrari opted for a smaller turbo in their engine development, and that benefited them at the beginning of the year, where we saw them getting an advantage off the line because they didn't have to rev it up as much. But here in Austria, they're like half a mile elevation, 700 meters, something like that. And elevation has a direct correlation between horsepower. Anyone who's driven up in the mountains, you feel that in your car when you step on the throttle. These cars aren't exempt to that. So turbocharged cars have an advantage there. It kind of condenses the air and forces it in, right, which means more horsepower at higher elevations. So them having a smaller turbo compared to other teams is a disadvantage and is maybe part of what Lewis is talking about there. Is they're just, yes, we brought engine upgrades, but elevation and small turbo played a factor here where they didn't necessarily realize that horsepower gain on this circuit. So
yeah, it makes sense. A lot of people don't think about stuff like that. Mercedes
really
are fast on the
technical
straight. Yeah, technical. Red Bull's fast on the straight. Let's get off Ferrari. We won't bug them too much. My boys, Red Bull, the car's looking good. I think it looks good. And this is where the championship fun as a Max fan is great because we had the almost comeback last year. And he's getting some points. Obviously, he's way back there still. But just, I think they might be figuring it out a little bit.
I think shedding that weight probably helped them a ton.
100%. Yeah.
I don't know that there was any validity to this, but I was seeing rumors that part of the way that they saved weight was with their hydraulic system, and that's why we were maybe seeing some weird issues in practice and Max complaining about like they were having some power cut off and stuff at certain corners, and so there was something funky going on. But whatever was going on, it seems like they worked it out. Race pace was solid, and I think aside from their strategy error on Max, I think they looked good. Max started P5, climbed all the way to P2, and definitely had the pace on the other cars at the end. Whether that was tire deg or performance, anyone's guess. I tend to think it was a little bit of both. And then Hadjar started P8, finished P6, got in front of both Norris and Leclerc. So, yeah, I mean, they seem to be in a good place. We see VCarb in P9, P10, they've got that same power unit. And so who knows, maybe this ADOU thing is right and they do have the best engine. And here in Austria, it just became obvious that that's the case. They can't hide it anymore.
I definitely think there's validity there. Especially, I mean, there's plenty of reasons. VCarb, I think, is a big one. Like, they're, at this point, pretty obvious best of the rest. Like they're kind of like you have the top four that are like a lap ahead, and then you have VCarb who are on like their little island right here, and then you have the next chunk of the pack. Like VCarb is in a weird spot until further notice. They almost need to be 9 and 10. Like that should be the expectation for them. Like if you're not getting the last 2-point spots, we had a bad weekend. Obviously, if a top four team has something go wrong with strategy or whatever, they can eat up that like 7-8 spot. It's definitely possible. They're both driving well, but I think with the car, you're getting to see Max race instead of worry about the car. Like you're seeing him make moves like he normally would, but even more important than that, the number 2 driver is able to perform well. It's not just like Hadjar's not just sitting in 8th. He is able to fight. And obviously Leclerc maybe had tire deg. He's not with it. Norris's race kind of fell apart, but that's not to take away from Hadjar. You still have to work to get P6. It's not a given against these top teams. So I think they have figured out their car. We'll see with the ADOU performance money and allocations if that falls away. I hope not. But yeah, I think they got the car right, at least right now.
Yeah, I mean, Red Bull's no stranger to developing a car. We're still at the beginning of this reg set, so there's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of optimization of different parts. Now they're at the weight limit, and so now they can focus on some aero efficiency and other bits. I think they're going to get stronger. it's just a matter of how do the other teams develop and who's going to outperform who. We talked about McLaren a little bit. Oscar a little bit. We had him finish P4. I don't know if it was so much his pace versus kind of being there, and we talked about that. I guess my question is, could Lewis have finished P4 if he didn't have to take that extra pit stop?
I'd say yeah. I mean, he had a good race. I don't have it pulled up right now. I didn't look at the end race time between Lewis and Oscar. I might be able to find that really quick. I don't know if you have the race.
4.5 seconds behind Oscar, so absolutely within range.
Could have. We kind of talked about Oscar. Kind of was there. Kind of a sneaky finish, but I mean, you can't take it away from him. But it's one of those it would have been interesting to see if they didn't kind of mess with Lewis's pit stops to see where that would have panned out. They showed Oscar a couple times making moves, but he just wasn't a standout. I think that's kind of where the snoozer of a race comes in. There wasn't a lot shown, and it's actually I was yelling at Alex about this while we were watching. They kept, and I saw this on another podcast I was watching, they kept putting whatever was exciting on the picture-in-picture, and they'd show something like the race start, like Lewis's first pit stop, which are very important. They put it on the picture-in-picture on the side, and I'm yelling, I don't want to see the race start. I want to see if the pit stop goes well. It's in this little freaking box over here. And then they did that. They did it a couple times, and then there was Charles passing someone on turn 3, and they shot the back of the dude's head with the camera. And it's
was this when the fan was in the way?
Yeah, the fan was in the way. And it's we talked about this after quali. This is supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsport. You have all the money. You should know if there's a fan's head in the way of the freaking camera. Don't go to that one. Just don't go to that one. Go look at Stroll or something. It's better than the back of the dude's head. What are we doing?
Yeah.
This move by Charles. I'm I see the dude's we know how many freaking snaps he has his hat on instead of the move in the race. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, I mean, not everyone's got it, but that's why I like the F1 TV Premium, where you can kind of go between the onboards. So when I get the opportunity to watch it that way, I'll try to kind of rotate through my second and third screens to someone who's chasing somebody else or something like that. Just because I've been in that scenario so many times where I'm excited to watch part of it and they cut away or they're showing a replay or something. But
yeah, when I'm solo watching, I cycle it a lot more. Look at some telemetry and stuff, but the fan was watching, so one big screen, keep it simple.
I had a good. It was early. My boy got up and he was playing with all his F1 cars on his carpet racetrack, so it was a good time.
I'm getting there. The 2 and 3-year-old will sit for the first 20 minutes, sit with dad. My daughter's oh, the pink car, it's my favorite. I'm yes, it is, sweet. And then they're done. That's it. So it's fun. We're getting there.
Yeah. My boy he'll watch it kind of sporadically. He'll watch it and then he'll play and then he'll hear something and he'll look up and he'll watch it. But he hangs around it and observes it.
My daughter, if I say, let's go, Max, she's let's go, Max. And then back to the plane. We have some insurance stuff coming up, which is kind of weird news, but
so kind of shifting gears. We got a quick turnaround. Silverstone is this weekend.
Yes, always exciting.
Yeah, and actually we should talk about Max's simulator before we dive into that.
Oh yes.
So Max was in an interview, said that he had the chance to drive Silverstone in the simulator
right after the race,
and just said that he had laughed. That you run out of battery and you basically just have to choose which straight you're going to use your battery on, but there is absolutely no way to complete a lap without draining your battery. So I think this is going to be a hot topic of discussion. I think we're going to see this talked about all weekend long. I think maybe bad look for the regs. This is all theoretical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't blame me if I'm wrong, but I think it's maybe bad look for the regs, but it may lead to some exciting racing, more of that yo-yoing stuff where you catch someone out who's out of battery and you get a lot more overtakes,
gotta
similar
choose.
to what we saw in Australia and China.
Well,
So
we know Max isn't going to lie, so I mean, I believe what he said. But it could be exciting or it could suck. Choose where you use your juice, I guess. But I mean, Silverstone, there's so much flat out,
a lot of
and
high-speed
there's
corners and
high-speed
just not a
corners.
lot of
Like,
heavy
you've
braking.
got your foot to the floor for a huge chunk of this race. I mean, I hope it makes it exciting, but it's definitely. I'm sure the drivers will feel like they're moving in slow motion. It'll
Yeah.
probably be one of those.
Well, I think to the credit of these regulations, like even in Austria, excuse me, we saw more overtakes in areas that we're not used to seeing overtakes. Like
Or
Kimi
nine by
overtook someone
Kimi.
in turn 9. That was
That was
pretty
on Leclerc.
nuts.
That was crazy.
Going around the outside of people in sector 2, we saw Max do that. We saw Lewis do it on Leclerc. Like some solid moves, and it's because of that dynamic of who has battery, who's got track position, and then who can deploy and who's got grip. So
You're not wrong.
I think it creates exciting moments, which from a fanfare standpoint is, I think, ultimately why we wound up with this regulation is we wanted the racing to be more exciting. So
I mean, that's very true, and it does add a little bit more strategy because like Kimi took Charles in turn 9. Charles was recharging. Kimi flew by him, and
he had no idea because that's
and
not
then
an
next-
overtaking zone.
yeah, and they ended up in that situation again after pit stops, and Charles did not charge there. He kept it going because it's like, oh crap, I'm going to do this
Lesson
again.
learned.
Yeah, so it's a fair point. We'll see. Obviously, this is the first time we're going through all these tracks on this reg set, so it'll be interesting. But
Yeah, we'll have another episode that'll come out later this week. That's more of our kind of Silverstone predictions and that kind of stuff. So we'll dive deeper into that. Yeah, some of the other news that I've been seeing is big rumor that F1 teams are struggling to get their insurance providers to provide coverage for races, equipment, and personnel in the Middle East, just because of all of the conflict that's going on there. Rumor that Qatar and Abu Dhabi could now be scrapped, which would be pretty crazy.
insane.
I don't know what level of truth there is. This is just rumors that are out there. So people are saying, do they do a doubleheader at Vegas and that's how the season ends? I don't see that happening. A doubleheader at the same track, although I think they might have done that once before.
Night Vegas,
I
day
have to
Vegas.
go back and
Let's go.
Day Vegas would be nuts. And I'm also seeing a second race at Barcelona / potentially Portugal, Portimao, where they used to race.
Yeah.
So the rumor is that this is going to be discussed, and we'll get a resolution as soon as Spa. So that's coming up in
Few
less
weeks.
than a month. Yeah, mid-July. So what do you think? You think that's a reality, potentially? We see no Middle East races
With how
this
much
year?
insurance sucks, I can believe that.
Yeah.
That would be wild to see no Middle East races this year. I
So
look
much
forward
of
to
F1's
Qatar and
money
Abu
comes
Dhabi.
from oil, so you would expect those to be the spectacle, right? There's a reason we end the season in Abu Dhabi.
I enjoy that race. I think
It's a
Qatar's
great
cool
race.
too, but Abu Dhabi's a cool track. Very very unique. Even like exiting the pit is unique at that track. It's a very interesting track.
I'm still holding out for them to sort all this crap out. I would love to even see them try to get Jeddah and Bahrain back on the calendar, but I think that might be confirmed as not happening. I'm not sure. Fact check myself there.
Won't get too excited on that. Speaking of rumors,
Mm-hmm.
this is semi-exciting because I don't really want to cheer for Papaya per se, but there has been more and more rumors of Max potentially joining Lando at McLaren, which I like more for the Max GP combo than the Max Lando combo, but that would be a pretty nasty setup of a team.
I think Zach Brown wants it to happen for sure.
I
And I
don't know
also
why you
think
wouldn't want it to happen.
I think there's people out there that are just excited for newness. People that just want to see some big shakeup, a la Lewis to Ferrari. I think just in sports you crave that, right? The big blockbuster trade.
I crave it.
Those kinds of things.
I don't really want Max to leave the sport. So if it's him going to McLaren,
yeah,
cool. I mean, their development's been great. Lando won a world championship. I do like Piastri, so that'd be kind of weird. I mean, maybe he goes over to Red Bull. Who knows? But I think with Max Lando, Zach Brown pushes everything with development and just sports and spots. Like the dude's all over the place, and then having GP alongside Max over there would be pretty nuts. Like that'd be one heck of a shakeup.
Yeah, I mean, from a McLaren's standpoint, like I don't have a lot of clarity about what GP's role actually is. I think he's something to do with like the overall race, right? He's not going to be an engineer in that same way. Although I don't know why you go all the efforts to get him if there's not something else that comes with it. Like GP's great and he's smart. And maybe this truly is him just kind of getting another notch in his belt and kind of climbing the F1 ladder. And maybe he wants to become a team principal one day. I don't know. I'm just theorizing. But I think there's a reason you go get GP.
It could be
as a
bait.
McLaren fan,
Might have been bait.
yeah, as a McLaren fan, I wouldn't be too upset about it. Obviously, Lando's my boy. I do like Oscar. I think having a Max Lando team could be interesting. I think you're going to probably get some drama with that. Right?
It'd be hard to not see drama, and
it's the same thing. It's two number one drivers, papaya rules.
and
You're just going to get it more often.
has a history of being a little bit of a prissy boy with some stuff. And I mean, Max has his ways too. I think the biggest negative of Max leaving Red Bull, though, we talked about this a few episodes ago, is he has freedom right now to do what he wants. So yep. I think in order for any other team to grab him, there's going to be some set, I don't want to call them ground rules, but I know Max is going to require some things, and I'm sure the teams are going to require some things. Like, I don't ever see him going to Ferrari, because Ferrari's like Ferrari. Like, this is like even strategy. This is what we did. Sorry, we screwed it up, but this is the Ferrari way. I could see a little bit more flexibility at McLaren because, like, Zach Brown's very invested in like IndyCar and hypercars, and like they're all over the place. So I could see some more freedom there. But at the same time, Max goes and races a Mercedes. So
yeah, the whole Max seems to really enjoy the GT3 endurance racing thing. It's like his little side quest, right? When F1's not that fun,
he runs his own team,
races GT3. Which, by the way, I did watch the highlights and a portion of the 24-hour Spa race where his teammates raced. They didn't have a great finish, but that was a fun watch. Yeah, I mean, the Red Bull's with Ford, right? And so there is a Mustang GT3 car. So that's one potential outcome. I know when Verstappen.com Racing decided to go with Mercedes, that was when the Max to Mercedes rumors were real big and hot. Toto's come out and has basically ruled that outright, that no, George and Kimi are my drivers for 27 is not happening. And we've also talked about this before, that Mercedes has put the kibosh on Kimi racing in other series, and so it would make sense that they would also put that same limitation on Max, which is not what he wants at this point. He wants more freedom. So if McLaren offers that to him, I could see it happening, but I don't know. I think Max is through and through a Red Bull dude. He's given that flexibility, and the brand of Red Bull allows him to have a lot of opportunities to do different things.
And that's what Red Bull's all about, right? Like,
yeah,
everything. It's not an energy drink company. That's not what it's about.
No, I think if I'm rooting for anything to happen, it's for Max to either stay with Red Bull or just leave the sport entirely. We've talked about this before as well. I think he should stay, and I think it's going to be bad for the sport if he goes, but I understand if he goes. But I think seeing Max, although Papaya's not too far away from Dutch orange, so maybe that's the appeal.
Papaya, Dutch orange.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the same headspace there. I think if they can continue this performance and how things are going the way they are, I think the chances of him staying are higher and higher, obviously. I would love to see him in GT, which I think he's going to end up there anyway, so I'd rather him extend his F1 career. I wouldn't be mad if he went to McLaren, just like I wouldn't be mad if he went to Mercedes, because I've really grown to like Toto. The only thing I disagree with you there is I think they kibosh Kimi because he is so new and like he's grooming to be like a championship racer.
You think they'd give Max more of a leash and let him do it?
I think they'd give Max more of a leash. I don't know how big of a leash, because like I said before, previous episodes, like the German way, like Toto's like, this is how we do it. I think Max would have a bigger leash. Like I mean, they gave Lewis a bigger leash, not necessarily for like racing other series, but Lewis is very much himself. Like Mercedes is like, show up in Mercedes gear. This is the way we do things. Like we don't do this. And Lewis is like helping foundations into fashion, helping causes. I mean, I don't want to get into all like the politics of everything, but
yeah,
they let Lewis be Lewis, so I don't see why they wouldn't give Max some sort of leeway in things he's interested in. I think
that's valid.
And I think Kimi would understand that. Like, hey, you haven't earned your keep yet. That's kind of the veteran, treatment, right? Like,
I don't think Kimi cares, man. He's just he's just happy to be there.
We get sidetracked on that, but
I lost my train of thought just because I'm laughing at the shot.
We're basically at the end here, so it's a good time to do it. I think the Max rumors will continue all season. I hope he stays with Red Bull, but I think hopefully by like the 3/4 mark of the season we have like an actual answer. His dad just talks, so I don't trust anything that comes out of his dad's mouth.
He's just stirring the pot, man. He's got to keep his
he loves it.
Open.
He's good at it. It's really annoying though. I will say it would be really weird to see Max go to like McLaren and him not be sitting there with his Red Bull in his hand when he talks.
Monster. He's gonna have to drink Monster now.
Better be white monsters.
Lando Monsters. Max drinking a Lando Monster.
Absolutely not. He would not. It would be in his freaking contract. He'd be like, I need my own can. And it's going to say Red Bull.
Oh, man.
It's great.
No.
Well, let's just cap it off with our predictions weren't bad. Podium predictions. No. I didn't have the order correctly, but Max, Kimi, and Leclerc is my prediction. So obviously Leclerc wasn't there. Max didn't win. Kimi didn't win. So slide those down. Throw George on top. Not too bad. You had Kimi, Lewis, George. So we both had one wrong, and we just had the order wrong. So not bad.
Ferrari tricked us. I think he put us together, and we nailed it. So overall, good week on our predictions. Now we have a little bit more understanding going into Silverstone. So, I don't know. I say we start keeping track of our predictions here. Maybe get a little scorecard going.
The start of the scorecard, or should we do a fresh one since we're tied right now? We'll do a freshie.
We'll do freshie.
Okay, we'll start fresh. All right. I don't think I'm gambling on Ferrari at Silverstone. That's a lot of straights.
Lower elevation though, but.
And it's Lewis home race.
X Factor.
Lewis,
all
George,
British
Lando.
Podium at the British Grand Prix.
Boo. No British bias here. How about no British podium at the British Grand Prix?
That would be equally nuts. Yeah, so what would that be? That'd be
Max, Kimi, Charles.
Kimi Max Charles would
Hadjar.
be nuts.
Hadjar.
No. Oscar?
Oscar.
Can I get a
I'll take
McLaren
a-
on there? Okay.
Absolutely. I'll take an Oscar
All right.
podium. All right, we'll
I'll
figure that
settle.
out later in the week. But we're going to end it there, and we'll see y'all before the race.